Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, think about the last time someone made you feel genuinely welcome. Maybe they noticed that you were tired and made you a cup of coffee or tea. Or perhaps they simply opened their door and gave you a comfortable place to sit, or give you some words of kindness, some words of encouragement. So in our busy world today, true hospitality can feel like a rare gift. And today's reading are all about the beautiful, life-changing power of welcome. And Jesus tells us something very astonishing in the gospel. Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. So he is telling us that God shows up in the small, ordinary ways we care for one another. And in our first reading, we meet a woman from Shunem. So she doesn't know Elisha, the prophet, intimately, closely, but she recognizes him as a holy man passing through the town. And she doesn't just give him a polite nod, she convinces him to eat a meal. Later, she goes even further. She tells her husband, "Let us make a little room on the roof and put a bed, a table, chair, and a lamp there for him." So she builds a space for God's messenger in her home. So she didn't expect a reward, but God would not be outdone in generosity. So Elisha promises her that after years of longing, she will hold a newborn son in her arms. So because she made room for a prophet, she made room for a miracle. So if we see, even in the words in today's gospel, that the word of Jesus are very challenging. He asks us to love him more than a father, more than mother, son, or daughter. So how is it possible? And we know that we love our family so much. So is he serious? So even more, he asks us to take up our cross and lose our life in order to find it. So he's not speaking not only to new disciples, but he's addressing those who have been following him for a long time, like many of us gathered here for prayer today. So his question to us today may not be new, but it remains very much in the present tense. So after all these years, am I still first in your life? When Jesus asked. So most of us have been coming to the church for many years, and we have gradually settled in, or allowing comfort, or routines, opinions, possession, or even family concern to take the central place that belongs to Christ. And then there's an uncomfortable question Jesus puts before us. Are we still willing to carry our cross? So the cross may no longer be dramatic persecution, but it may be putting everything aside to care for a spouse or dependent adult child, forgiving old hurts, or remaining faithful when prayer seems lifeless. Jesus is asking whether we will continue walking with him even when discipleship is costly. So in today's gospel, Jesus is asking us, at the same time challenges us, to make that same kind of room in our hearts. He uses strong language. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. So Jesus is not telling us to stop loving our families or to love our families less. On the contrary, he is teaching us how to love them better. So because when we put God at the center of our homes, our human love is purified. When Christ reigns in our households, husbands and wives, forgive each other more easily. Parents guide with them with the deeper wisdom, and children grow up with a solid moral foundation. So loving Jesus first is the ultimate shield that protects our family from the storms of life. So now he is asking us, who sits on the throne of your life right now? If we want to experience the fullness of God, he cannot just be a decoration in our lives, but he or Jesus has to be the center. And St. Paul explained this beautifully in the second reading from Romans. He reminds us that in baptism we died with Christ so that we might live a newness of life. So dying to ourselves means letting go of our selfishness, our need to always be right, and our tendency to put our comfort first. When we empty ourselves of these things, we finally have room to welcome Jesus. So how do we live this out in this week? So Jesus makes it incredibly simple. He doesn't ask us to build a little room on our roofs like a Shunammite woman, nor does he demand grand dramatic gestures, but he just says, whoever gives only a cup of cold water to one of these little ones will surely not lose his reward. So this gospel is not addressed only to new disciples, nor is discipleship something we accomplished years ago. Rather, being Jesus' disciple is a choice we must make again each day. Even though we have been following him for a long time, he still continues to say, "Follow me." A cup of cold water, it costs almost nothing. But to a thirsty person, it means everything. So in our families, our workplaces, our society, and our parish, a cup of cold water might look like listening patiently to someone who is lonely, even when you are in a rush, or offering a word of encouragement to a coworker or a stressed out parent, bearing a grudge and offering forgiveness instead. So every time we welcome another person with kindness, we are welcoming Jesus. And every time we make room for him, he transforms our hearts. So hearing these words anew today, I want to ask myself that what currently occupies my heart more than my relationship with Christ? And as I look ahead to the coming week, to whom can I show Christ's love through a simple act of welcome or kindness? Who is thirsting for a bit of kindness in my life right now? Dear brothers and sisters, let us be the ones to offer that cup of cold water, trusting that as we welcome others, God is opening his heart to welcome us. May God always bless us now and forever.